Some tentative good news for Sisters of Battle players today. It would appear that all of this will be in the new Sisters Combat Patrol box. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, where today we're talking about what appears to be the contents of the new Sisters Combat Patrol box. Now, since the Sisters of Battle were reimagined in plastic, they haven't had any sort of permanent Combat Patrol or Start Collecting box that has stuck around for any length of time to allow new players to start the army a little bit cheaper. It's been kind of particularly punishing, as Sisters are one of the more expensive armies in 40k to collect. Lots of nice new Games Workshop plastic sculpts that they charge a premium for, but aren't really all that points intensive in game, so you wind up paying quite a lot for the amount of points that you get on the board. It meant that they really weren't the easiest army to start, and certainly a lot of people are looking forward to them having a new Combat Patrol box in 9th edition. So far, every single army that's had a codex has had a Combat Patrol box come out, and there's no reason to think that Sisters will be any exception to this rule. Of course, the first wave of Sisters kits went on pre-order last Saturday, and there wasn't any Combat Patrol box there, but it's clear that we haven't had the entire wave of Sisters kits yet. We haven't had the Castigator or Istrid Thurger, that fancy banner bearer model. It does imply that there's another release wave coming for Sisters, and I'm sure that the Combat Patrol box will be part of that. So far, Games Workshop has made no announcement as to what's actually coming with the Combat Patrol, but it seems that the Sisters of Battle Codex has spoken for them. In each of the new 9th edition codexes, there's a section called Combat Patrol, and it just gives you an example of the miniatures that you could field in a Combat Patrol for the army. And for the last 4 codexes at least, it's been the exact same for the Combat Patrol box sold with the codex. For example, the Admech have their one with the Cataphrons, Onager, Skitari and the Enginseer, and the Dark Angels have their Combat Patrol with the Chaplain, the Redemptor Dreadnought and the Inceptors. In the Sisters Codex, it appears that they have the entire contents of the Sisters of Battle launch box, plus a Sororitas Rhino. For me, I'm convinced that this is what's coming for the Sisters, and I think it really makes quite a lot of sense. So the reason that I think that this will indeed be the Combat Patrol box is because it fits quite well with what Games Workshop has done before. When the Shadowspear box launched, that had the expanded range of Phobos Space Marines fighting off against Chaos with their Master of Possession and Venom Crawler, and then further down the line, both of those were repackaged into Start Collecting boxes of their own, and it seems that the Space Marine one has even been repackaged quite similar to this Combat Patrol. A whole bunch of monopose Phobos Marines, plus the generic transport for the Primaris, the Impulsor. It seems to me like it could be a really good decision to get some more value out of those monopose sculpts, and they really fit in with the idea of a more budget Sisters of Battle army. As of course, though you're getting loads of miniatures for really quite cheap, you're not quite getting the full fat kits where you're able to customize all the options and give them the exact gear that you want to. It also might mean that there aren't as many sprues needed in the box, as you're not filling up extra space with lots of redundant options that won't get assembled. We do also know that these miniatures are coming back in some form. A bunch of these monopose Sisters models are coming back as part of that Warhammer Imperium magazine release, so we do know that Games Workshop is happy to repurpose them and sell them anew. Finally, I don't think that they would advertise these miniatures in the codex the way they have if they're miniatures that you can't buy. In all the other example Combat Patrols, they have been the box that you could buy, and even the examples for the Necrons and Space Marines that didn't release alongside a Combat Patrol box, their example miniatures were ones from the starter sets and units like the Invader ATV, which you could buy at the time. I guess only time will tell whether this does turn out to be legitimate, but at the moment I think it highly likely is, and if so then it's absolutely fantastic news for Sisters players. Aside from the Rhino, all of these miniatures would be monopose, so no options or choices of gear, and you have a Canonist with a power sword, 10 Sisters of Battle, 1 armed with a Flamer, 4 Repentia and a Repentia Superior, 3 Arcoflagellants, a Penitent Engine armed with Boss Blades, 5 Seraphim, the Superior armed with a power sword, and finally a Sororitas Rhino. Just theoretically, if you did compare the value to the full fat kits, then you'd be getting around about £166 or $280, which if they stick to their usual pricing for these Combat Patrol boxes of £85, $140 or €110, theoretically that would be around about a 50% saving, literally half off on these kits. I know we can't 100% confirm that Games Workshop will still stick to £85 and the standard rate for Combat Patrol boxes with this, but I think it's kind of likely. They haven't deviated with it so far, and they seem to want to give every faction an equal entry point into the game, which I think is quite a good design. Points and power wise, it does add up to a Combat Patrol as well. With my rough estimate of the points, I believe it comes to just over 500. I'll be honest, if this is right, then I am very impressed with the release indeed. I feel like, as the Sisters launch box intended, it really does have some of the most iconic units out of the Sisters army. The Canoness and Battle Sisters at the core, their transport, some nice ecclesiarchy tortured weirdness, and some angelic seraphim soaring above. I love the amount of plastic that you get, the amount of unit variety you have, and also that you could think about getting multiples of these boxes. The vast majority of the contents are things that you could easily run in 2s or 3s throughout the Sisters list. 30 Battle Sisters would be a good core to start with. You kind of want extra Repentia and Arcoflagellants to get their squads up to size. 3 Penitent Engines is far more intimidating than 1 that's liable to be gunned down. And the Rhino is one of the workhorses of the Sisters of Battle army. It's really good for transporting things like Dominions, Repentia, and Arcoflagellants. The extra Repentia Superiors and extra Canonesses might be a bit wasted, but maybe you could think about converting them into other characters, maybe use some spare bits and pieces and try and make some custom Sisters characters, maybe Palatines or Dogmators or something. So I really look forward to hearing what you have to say about this. Do you think that this is indeed the new Sisters Combat Patrol box? And if so, are you as impressed by it as I am? I feel like just for the sheer amount of fancy plastic, cool miniatures, and effective units in game, this might be one of the very best combat patrols that Games Workshop has to offer, whenever it happens to be available. If there is anyone out there who is thinking about collecting a Sisters of Battle army, you might think about holding off on buying any of these units. Maybe just wait a few weeks, see if this does materialize, and then maybe this might be the best way to get your hands on lots of Battle Sisters if you did just want some bolter bodies to hold the lines. I'm sure you could potentially use miniatures from this to fill out the majority of squads, and then maybe combine that with a few of the multi-part kits to make sure that you've got any individual bits of special gear that you want, and maybe add a little bit of pose variety to the army. In any case, this was really fun to see. A really big thank you to Angie Watts on Facebook who pointed this out to me. I'd completely glossed over this myself when I was making the Codex review. If you'd like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where I'll certainly keep the 40k videos coming. I'm hoping to have a fair few Sisters reviews coming out over the next few weeks, particularly Paragon Warsuits, Morven Vaal, and a few other reviews of the new and old units from the Sisters Codex. Finally, if you have been enjoying the videos on the channel and you'd like to help support more coming, I would just like to mention one way in which you can support Auspex Tactics, which is my Element Games affiliate link down in the video description below. Element Games is a UK-based discount retailer. They give 10 to 20% off Games Workshop's products, and if you do order anything after clicking their link, a small amount goes to help support Auspex Tactics without costing you any more whatsoever. It can just be a way to help out with the channel if you are enjoying the videos regularly and you were thinking about buying some miniatures anyway. For people in the USA and Canada, there's also an Amazon affiliate link down in the video description too. It works the same way. Click on it before ordering and a small amount goes to help support the channel while not costing you any more whatsoever. A massive thank you to all of you for listening, and I'll certainly hope to see you guys next time.